Have you ever noticed that some of your biggest dreams seem to lose their power the moment you tell someone about them? You announce a new business idea. You tell your friends you're finally going to get in shape. You promise yourself this time you'll finish writing that book, learn that skill, or build that project you've always imagined. People smile. They encourage you. They tell you how proud they are. For a moment, it feels incredible. But then something strange happens. The excitement begins to fade. Days turn into weeks, and somehow the dream that once felt so alive quietly disappears. Why does this happen? Modern psychology offers an interesting explanation, but long before researchers began studying human motivation, an old story had already captured this truth in a simple lesson. It is the story of a young man named Elias. Elias lived in a small village surrounded by olive groves and rolling hills. He was known as someone with endless ambition. Hardly a month passed without him discovering another exciting idea. One week he dreamed of becoming the finest carpenter in the region. Another week he wanted to start a thriving market business. Soon after, he became fascinated with pottery, convinced he could create beautiful pieces that people would travel for miles to buy. His imagination was limitless, but there was one habit that followed every dream. Before taking the first real step, Elias made sure everyone knew about it. Whenever inspiration struck, he would walk through the village marketplace, sharing his plans with anyone willing to listen. Friends congratulated him. Neighbors admired his determination. Older villagers smiled and praised his ambition. Every announcement filled him with excitement. Every compliment made the future seem closer. He would leave those conversations believing success was just around the corner. Yet when the following morning arrived, and it was finally time to begin the difficult work, something inside him had changed. The excitement that had burned so brightly the day before was gone. The tools stayed where they were. The plans remained unfinished. Days passed, then weeks, until another new idea appeared and the cycle began all over again. At first, Elias blamed his circumstances. Perhaps he didn't have enough money. Perhaps he lacked the right tools. Perhaps the timing simply wasn't right. But deep inside, he knew those weren't the real reasons. Other people in the village built businesses. Others mastered difficult crafts. Others quietly improved their lives year after year. The difference wasn't talent. It wasn't opportunity. Somehow, they managed to finish what they started. Elias couldn't. As the years passed, the weight of unfinished dreams became heavier. Each abandoned project reminded him of another promise he had failed to keep. The confidence that once came so easily slowly turned into frustration. Then embarrassment. Eventually, he stopped believing in his own promises. One evening, while walking aimlessly beyond the edge of the village, Elias found himself near an old orchard that belonged to a man named Samuel. Samuel was unlike anyone else in the village. He rarely offered advice. He never sought attention. Yet people respected him deeply because his life reflected a quiet wisdom that needed no explanation. As Elias approached, he noticed Samuel kneeling beside a small young tree. Samuel looked up, smiled warmly, and invited Elias to come closer. Without saying much, he continued caring for the tree. After a few moments, Elias admitted what had been weighing on his heart. He confessed that every dream seemed to fade before it became reality. He spoke about the projects he had abandoned, the promises he had broken, and the growing fear that perhaps he simply wasn't capable of succeeding. Samuel listened quietly. When Elias finished, the old man reached into his pocket and removed two tiny seeds. They looked completely identical. Holding them in the palm of his hand, Samuel told Elias that these two seeds would answer every question he had just asked. At first, Elias didn't understand what two ordinary seeds could possibly teach him about unfinished dreams. But over the following weeks, those seeds would change the way he looked at ambition, discipline, and success forever. The following morning, Samuel led Elias to a quiet corner of the orchard where the soil was soft and rich with years of careful tending. He placed one of the seeds into Elias's hand and motioned toward the ground. Together, they dug a small hole and gently buried the seed beneath the earth. Samuel covered it with soil, poured a little water over the spot, and simply walked away. He offered no explanation. Then they returned to the village. Standing in the busy marketplace surrounded by merchants and curious villagers, Samuel took out the second seed. Holding it high for everyone to see, he announced that it would one day become a magnificent tree. People gathered around him. Some smiled. Others admired the tiny seed. Children stretched to catch a glimpse of it. For a few moments, the little seed became the center of everyone's attention. Then Samuel carefully placed it on a large stone beside the village well, where everyone could continue to admire it. Once again, he said nothing. Days passed. Every morning, Samuel quietly returned to the orchard. Without drawing attention to himself, he watered the buried seed and cared for the soil around it. No one watched. No one applauded. Most people didn't even know the seed was there. Meanwhile, the seed in the village square remained exactly where it had been left. People walked past it every day without giving it much thought. Children picked it up out of curiosity before placing it back down. Birds pecked at it. The hot afternoon sun dried its shell. Rain washed over it. Eventually, it became just another forgotten object lying on an old stone. Several weeks later, Samuel invited Elias back to the orchard. At first, nothing seemed different. Then Elias noticed it. A tiny green shoot had broken through the soil. It was small, fragile, easy to overlook, yet it was alive. Each time they returned, it had grown a little more. New leaves appeared. Its stem became stronger. Its roots spread silently beneath the ground, where no one could see them. At the same time, the second seed had completely disappeared. Whether it had been carried away by birds, crushed beneath someone's feet, or simply dried beyond life, no one could say. It had attracted attention, but it had never grown. Standing between the thriving young plant and the empty stone in the village square, Elias finally began to understand that Samuel had never been comparing two seeds. He had been comparing two ways of chasing a dream. One had been protected, the other had been exposed before it was ready. One invested its energy in growing, the other spent its entire existence being seen. That simple difference changed everything. For the first time, Elias looked back at his own life and recognized the pattern he had never noticed before. Every dream he had ever abandoned had followed the same path. The moment an idea entered his mind, he rushed to share it. The encouragement felt wonderful. The compliments made the future seem real. People treated him like someone who was already becoming successful. Without realizing it, he had started collecting the emotional reward before doing the difficult work required to earn it. By the time he returned home, a part of him already felt accomplished. Not because he had built anything, but because everyone believed he eventually would. Slowly, the hunger to prove himself disappeared. The excitement that should have fueled action had already been spent on conversation. Samuel had shown him something that no lecture ever could. Dreams are a lot like seeds. During their earliest stages, they are fragile. They need protection far more than attention. They need consistent effort, not constant recognition. And if they are exposed before they have developed strong roots, they often lose the very energy needed to survive. Elias left the orchard carrying no seed in his hands, but he carried something far more valuable, a completely different understanding of success. For the first time in years, he wasn't thinking about telling people what he planned to become. He was thinking about quietly becoming it. The next morning, Elias returned to his workshop. For the first time in years, he resisted the urge to tell anyone about his plans. There was no announcement in the marketplace, no promises, no audience. He chose a single, simple project, a wooden stool. It wasn't ambitious, it wasn't impressive, but this time the goal wasn't to impress anyone. The goal was simply to finish. Every evening after his daily responsibilities, Elias stepped quietly into his workshop and got to work. Some days he made progress, other days he made mistakes. Without the pressure of other people's expectations, he discovered a quiet freedom. He wasn't trying to live up to the image he had created. He was simply focused on improving a little each day. Slowly, the stool began to take shape. When he finally finished it, he placed it outside his workshop. The next morning, a neighbor stopped to admire it. He asked Elias when he had built something so beautiful. Elias simply smiled. He hadn't needed to announce it. The work spoke for itself. That small victory changed everything. He built another piece, then another. Months turned into years, and the young man who had once been known for unfinished dreams became known for finished work. People respected him, not because of what he said he would do, but because of what he had already done. His reputation was no longer built on promises. It was built on proof. The greatest lesson Samuel gave him wasn't really about seeds. It was about human nature. Today, psychologists understand something remarkably similar. Research suggests that when people publicly announce a goal and immediately receive praise or approval, the brain can experience a sense of satisfaction before any meaningful progress has been made. That early emotional reward can reduce motivation for some people because part of the feeling of achievement has already been experienced. This doesn't happen to everyone. For many people, sharing goals with supportive friends, mentors, or accountability partners can increase commitment and improve follow-through. The difference lies in how and why the goal is shared. If you're seeking guidance, accountability, or practical support, talking about your plans can be incredibly valuable. But if you're mainly seeking recognition, admiration, or validation before the work begins, that recognition can sometimes become a substitute for action. That's the lesson hidden inside Samuel's two seeds. One was protected while it developed strong roots. The other was exposed before it ever had the chance to grow. Our goals often need the same protection. They need quiet mornings spent practicing. They need evenings filled with steady effort. They need patience when no one is watching. Real success is usually invisible at first. A tree spends years growing roots before anyone notices its height. A skilled craftsman spends countless hours making mistakes before people admire the finished masterpiece. An athlete trains long before standing on a podium. A writer fills hundreds of blank pages before publishing a single book. The world celebrates the result, but the result is only possible because of the unseen work that came before it. Perhaps that's the question each of us should ask before sharing our next big dream. Am I looking for encouragement to keep going? Or am I looking for the feeling of success without earning it? Only you can answer that. If there's one lesson worth taking from Elias's story, it's this. Protect your dreams while they're still fragile. Let your habits grow stronger than your words. Allow your actions to become so consistent that one day people notice your progress without ever hearing your plans. The strongest trees don't announce they're growing. They simply grow. And perhaps your greatest success is already taking root in the quiet work no one else can see. If you enjoy stories that reveal the hidden psychology behind human behavior, consider subscribing to the Psych Lens. Every week we explore timeless stories, psychological insights, and life lessons that can change the way you think, work, and live. And if you don't want to miss the next story, turn on notifications so you'll know the moment a new video is released. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep growing, even when no one is watching.